A lot of people ask me about Lester Levinson. I was fortunate enough to be his friend for 22 years. Lester was a physicist and an engineer and developed a release technique, and his main interest, his sole interest, was to help the world discover what love is and stop killing and pushing and shoving each other. And he also founded a retreat center in Sedona, which is now called the Sedona Margot Retreat. It's a beautiful place and stuff like that, but basically what Lester did is he actually acquired the release technique center in Sedona by releasing only. He accumulated 300 acres in Sedona by releasing only when he left New York and came to Sedona. He then developed this retreat center. The two of us got involved and built the retreat center, which is beautiful. We have lots of casitas. We have over 200 casitas there. There's a swimming pool, there's meeting rooms. It's 170 acres property in the most beautiful background you could ever imagine. And Lester's sole interest was to help each other. Help each other find out what releasing is and how to get to that place where you release and be quiet and be imperturbable. And so we're going to be having a retreat at the retreat center for the first time in years. And it's going to be terrific. It's called Lester's Way Final Step Retreat. And it's going to be fantastic. We're going to be doing exercises that we never did before. For many of you who have listened to Lester's CDs, that's where he recorded those CDs, on that very spot. We'll also be releasing at Lester's gravesite. We'll also be releasing in special areas that really are energy voids, which are really fantastic. The Indians thought it was a special ground, and so they were there, and you can see lots of Indian artifacts on the grounds if you walk around and stuff like that. It's all over the place. And so it's going to be really terrific. So let's just do some releasing to help you get there, because it's going to be important. If you really would like to get rid of your fear of dying, you let go of the fear of being, not having anything you want to have. Just releasing on anything. You really want to be there. It's going to be a fantastic course. So let's do a little releasing so you can get there. So what advantage would it be for you to show up at the Sedona Margot Retreat Center in March? Does that bring up a wanting approval, a wanting control, or a wanting to be safe? Now let's just take a look at the wanting to control. Could you let go of wanting to control so you could have control? And could you let go of wanting to control so you could be in control? And which feels better, having control or wanting control? So could you let go of wanting to control so you could have control? And could you let go of wanting to control so you can have control? And which feels better, having control or wanting control? And could you let go of wanting to control so you can have control? And which feels better, having control or wanting control? Does it feel more like you have control, or do you still want control? Now let's take a look at possibly the wanting to be safe. Could you let go of wanting to be safe so you could be safe? Could you let go of wanting to be safe so you could be safe? And which feels better, having safety or wanting safety? And could you let go of wanting to be safe so you could be safe? And could you let go of wanting to be safe so you could be safe? And which feels better, having safety or wanting safety? Now you can't stand up and sit down at the same time, and you can't want and have at the same time. Would you rather feel good, or would you rather feel negative? It comes down to that. If you're holding on to wanting, you're going to feel suffering. You're going to be suffering. If you let go of wanting, the suffering will stop, and you'll feel happy and loving and light. It's that simple, and it's a choice. Would you rather be positive, or would you rather be negative? Would you rather have wanted? Would you rather want, or would you rather have? You decide. So could you let go of wanting so you could have? And could you let go of wanting so you could have? Which feels better, having it or wanting? Could you let go of wanting it so you could have it? Now what's the disadvantage of going to the retreat center in March? Does that bring up a wanting approval, a wanting control, or a wanting to be safe? So let's take a look at the wanting approval. Could you let go of wanting approval so you could have approval? And could you let go of wanting approval so you could have approval? Now, which feels better, having approval or wanting approval? So could you let go of wanting approval so you could have approval? And could you let go of wanting approval so you could have approval? And does it feel more like you could have approval, or do you still want approval? You can't want and have at the same time. You can't stand up and sit down at the same time. You do one or the other. You're happy or you're miserable. If you're holding on to wanting, you're going to be miserable. You've already proved it to yourself. If you let go of wanting, you move into having, and that's where Lester was. Now we'll be visiting Lester's home there in Sedona at the retreat center. We'll be visiting his gravesite. We'll be doing some releasing at his gravesite. We'll walk around and just see what Lester did and how he accomplished amazing things by releasing only. You'll be hearing a whole lot of stories about Lester there. We'll be playing a lot of Lester videos that possibly some of you have never seen before. It's going to be a very special time because we haven't been there in years. I highly invite you and encourage you to join in if you're really interested in freedom and finally taking the final step for freedom. I highly recommend you be there, and I hope you will.